Do you feel stuck juggling a pile of unfinished projects, completely unsure how to progress from endless drafts to polished tracks? Do you want to be able to finish and release your music confidently without being held back? Well, in this video, I'm going to reveal a new 3-step system for confidently blowing past those boring, repetitive loops, and how you can know your song is 100% finished every single time. The first thing you might be wondering is, what new shortcuts are available in 2025 that will help me finish songs faster? And you'll be surprised to learn that the first step that I'm going to show you in this system involves something you've been missing that's been right in front of your nose. Let's jump into Ableton to show you what I mean. Alright, so this is a look at an Ableton project that I've been working on. One of the first things I'll do is add in a reference track, so a song I want mine to sound like and that has a structure or an arrangement that I like. And then what I'll do is I will set this up here, and this is something that's been around for quite a while. It's something that if you're not using yet, I definitely recommend you start using, and it is just an arrangement or a structured track. So basically what we're using is just a MIDI clip with nothing on it to use all these empty MIDI clips and color code them and label them to signify main sections of the song. So to create one of these, we just zoom in here. You can just kind of grab a section and then right click and then press insert MIDI clip. That'll create a MIDI clip, and then you can do Command or Control R to like label it like verse or chorus or whatever you want. And then you can also right click it and color code them like that. The color coding is just kind of nice and cute, makes it look nicer to look at. But also what you can do is kind of set up things so that there's these very specific sections almost happening in every piece of music. So there's usually going to be an intro and an outro. For me, I like to have these as white. There's usually going to be some kind of break. So like when the song like drops at the kick and the energy goes down, I usually have this kind of a blue color. Then there's usually drops. I have this as this brighter pink color, so when like the beat really kicks in. And then also I usually like to indicate these 2 extra spots that I notice that music tends to have. It usually goes from an intro into like a sub. So this is kind of like without the vocal or the main hook or anything like that, maybe just like some chords and the bass and all the drums and everything's in, but not the full drop yet, right? And then usually near the end of the song, a similar version to that kind of happens, but I call this the build down, so when it's kind of purple. So there's the drop where there's all like the music happening and like maybe the vocals and stuff like that, and then it starts to build down, so then start removing the vocals and some of those main hooks and kind of strip it down, so then it's slowly getting out to the outro so that the DJ can mix out of it. So these are kind of sections that always happen. And I'd recommend kind of just listening through the song that you're working on and build up these little references. What you can also do is something that I usually tend to do is also create these little extra markers to give me little hints of like what's happening in those sections if there's something notable. So over here there's like the open hi-hats playing, and then a different one comes in, and then another open hi-hat gets added here, and then there's a completely different bass line but from here than from over here. So I make these little notes, and to do that you just can right click and press add locator, and then you can like type in whatever you want. You can actually even use these as the arrangement track too. I've seen people kind of like go like this, add locator, and they could write breakdown. This way you can like also jump to it really quickly. I don't like that as much, just personal preference, but it is another option. The main idea is what you want to do is really map out your references structure, and it's going to make it really easy, like so easy to get a really first rough draft of a finished track done when you have something like this. I'm going to show you exactly how and why. So once I have this kind of track in, what I'll do is I will then build out the track to the reference. I'll find like the section of the song where the drop is like the meatiest, and then start building out like my kick and my bass and all that kind of stuff, and all the elements of the song. So in this instance, I have as a vocal, a kick, all these drums, all this yellow bit's just different drums. So if I open this up, you can see it's just like hi-hats, snares, whatever. And then I have the bass line here. I'm just gonna go like this, assign track to color clips, because it's nice to have everything kind of grouped, because then you can see each individual. It's good for mixing, but it's also good for arranging, because then you can see each like block of your song. So the idea is what I'll do is then build the song out vertically, so creating each layer of the track. And once I have most of the layers of the track, then it can be very easy to build out the song horizontally. So let me show you what I mean. So now that I can see that there's just the intro, usually that like this is how fast it can really be. So what you can do is like solo the track that you want to reference, and we'll just listen to it for a second. it's just kick and like hi-hat. So without even listening, I can just go like this, right? And then let's listen, and everything tends to move in these like 8 or 16 bar chunks, right? So knowing that, I can just skip over here and listen. They added in a clap and snare, let's say. So let's go ahead and grab our clap and snare from our main loop. And also there was a bass in there, but just quieter. So let's grab the bass and let's drop that in. And I know that the intro is going to go up until like this point, so I can copy this over all the way over here. And it sounded like that bass was like had the lows being removed. So I can go into the main. What I have is this little rack here, and I can click this, and it's just it's a high pass filter. It's going to get rid of all the lows. So I actually already did this step for some reason, but like you can see here, I can quickly just add this in on the master track to remove the lows. So now the bass isn't fully hitting, and then the bass, this EQ is going to drop out here. But that's a little bit more, not even what I want to cover right now, because the thing is, what we can do is just keep going through this. So let's move into the next block. So here, there's all these elements happening, and then also these like kind of breaks. So we just grab that, boom, whole section's done. Then there's like a break here. So what we're gonna do is just remove the kick, boom, we're done. Now we can move on to the next section, which is gonna be the sub and then the new open hat. So what we'll do is just grab this, grab the full thing, and we can drop it in. And you can see here, we're not even listening to what we're doing really. We're almost like painting by numbers, and look how fast we're doing this. So then the new open hat comes in, so we can go like this, grab that in, boom. Let's grab the bass line, make sure the bass line's playing, boom, and now we got the bass line. Now we got the break. Let's have a listen to the break. It sounds like there's vocals, boom, and then everything's playing but without the kick. The bass line's still playing, but there's that like high pass kind of sound going on. I've already added that, so you can see we're cutting out from 48 and then doing a little transition effect. Let's go ahead back in here. So we got the drop. Cool, so basically it's the same thing but without any vocals for that first half. Let's jump into the second half. Cool, sounds good. There's a break here apparently, if you can see, break. So let's listen to the break. Just remove the kick, onto the next section. So now we have new bass line. So I actually didn't make that, and you can see here it's almost the same. So I'm gonna go like this, I'm gonna grab everything, and we're just gonna copy that over. And then you can see the break's a little longer without even listening to it. Just move it like that. And then we got almost a duplicate of this. So let's just go grab this, and then Command D to quickly break it, do it over. Then we have this breakdown, which sounds like it's mostly just drums. Let's bring that across the whole thing, Command D a bunch of times, and have a quick listen. Let's move it to the next chunk. Bass gets added here, so let's go ahead and add that in here. And you can see this is obviously not perfect. We're gonna need to like go in and refine this, but I don't know how long it's been. Like I think we're gonna get this done within 5 or 10 minutes because this is super fast. Let's have a quick listen to this next section. Drums are gone actually here, so let's just remove these. Let's move to the next section. There's like some kind of like riser, so instead of even wasting any time doing that, let's just say riser here. And then we have, it's basically almost a repeat of this section here, right? So what we can do is just grab this, grab all this, boom, drop that in here, and then see the breaks happening at the same times. And now it's just the build down, outro, and break. So for the build down, we'll grab this, the subsection, drop that in there. There's a break here. We know that the track seems to be always just removing the kick for those breaks, so let's go ahead and dial that back. And then for the outro, let's just grab the fucking intro but reversed. So we're gonna grab the highest point of the intro, drop that in here, and then have a listen. And then the kick's probably gone here. Too fucking easy. So we just duplicate that over. So I don't know how long that was. Maybe I should put a little timer on it or something. But the thing is, obviously this isn't a completely finished track, but within like 5 minutes, we've been able to get some kind of rough structure, and now we have something to optimize, something that we can improve, something that we can then get into the nitty gritty and be like, okay, well, I don't want my breakdown to sound a lot like fucking like this guy's breakdown. Like that's something that should be unique. So you can spend more time on this and dial it in, but at least now you have like a full song, a rough framework, something you can see from like a 30,000 foot like aerial bird's eye view. You can export this whole thing out and listen to a 6-minute track and kind of really notice where things sound weak and where things need more attention. But at least now you have something to work with, and you're always thinking about the bigger picture, right? You're not like really just worrying about how this one first drop sounds and trying to make this sound huge and heavy because it's the main thing you're working on and you want it to sound awesome. You know that this shouldn't sound as intense as this section, so you're gonna treat this section a little differently, knowing that it needs to serve this next section here. So I think it's really important to get this done as quickly as possible so that you can have this framework, you have something to optimize, and you're really getting past that thing that most producers struggle with, where it's like, oh, always trying to worry about I can't turn it into a loop into a full song. I can't turn a loop into a full song. Boom. You basically have the framework here done. And now you can kind of really get in there, let your influences shine by making each part a bit more unique, listening to each section, adding in, additional transitions and whatever. But now, again, you have a framework for your song that's based on a song that you like and that does perform well. So yeah, really into this idea. I really think it's super special. Even this idea of like structuring it without listening and just kind of like using your eyes, it's counterintuitive to probably a lot of what you've learned, but I find it really cool. You kind of like also can start using your own intuition, like assuming like what you know of song structures. The more you do this, the more that you're going to know naturally how songs are structured and what little tricks happen between breaks and drops, and then you can just start adding those things in naturally right away, and following the main structure track a lot less. So something I'm also want to hook you up with actually to make that even easier is, if you didn't know, I also have like the Patreon style membership. So each week I finish a song for the Beatport top charts and make those project files available. As an extra bonus for this week, I'm actually going to drop a project file that's just filled with every single one of these structure tracks that I've made. So you can just like add this to your like side library, for example, and then drag in a structure track from like a Beatport top 100 track, and like I'll try to maybe organize it the best I can, but I think that'd be a really cool way for anyone to learn about song structures, and for a way to quickly be like, okay, I need to finish a song. I don't necessarily know which one I want to reference and then have to do all this like MIDI creating the fucking structure. You can just drag in a structure track like this and throw it into your track and then build against that structure track, or just open them all up and see if you can find any patterns of songs that you like, things that they tend to do. It's a really good way to analyze and study and learn song structure. Obviously, the best way would be to do this over and over again. So the more that you can find a track that you really like, build a song structure, this little act of kind of doing it yourself is really going to get you, is going to be the thing that'll get you there. It will take a little bit longer. So having like a bunch of these structure tracks, arrangement tracks, however you want to call it, at your disposal, I think is going to be something super special and help you get there a little bit faster. So if you want to check that out, there'll be a link in the description, or it's bestfriends.club. bestfriendsclub.ca /join, and you can get access to that. So now you have a 3-step system that you can rely on for confidently blowing past those boring repetitive loops, and a way for you to know that your song is 100% finished every single time. Now, if you want to save time by downloading the template in this video, there's a link in the description and on screen now to grab not only that, but also over 30 full Ableton project files based on tracks from the Beatport Top 100 charts, with new files being added weekly. Seeing in detail how professional songs are composed, mixed, mastered, and structured is one of the best ways to fast track your productions to a quality level of the pros. If you're not quite ready for that and want to learn more right here on YouTube first, check out this completely free playlist of videos that will reveal innovative new ways to finish pro-level songs faster than any other way that you've tried before.